everyone, this is Renee from Meadowlark Mystic, and I am doing my Tarot and Oracle collection video. This is video number 5, drawer number 5. I have other decks that are out in my art/tarot room, so they're not actually in drawers, but I would say if I look around, we probably have 1 or 2 more videos after this one. Okay, so let's get into it. This one has a lot of decks in weird boxes. So this is not the box that goes with this. What is the name of this deck? Shoot, I'm not getting this open. Oh, right. Okay, this is the Goddess Oracle. And I don't have I have 2 decks in here. This is an old deck, and everybody knows this deck. Okay, maybe not everybody. So the Goddess Oracle. This actually, I got this deck the same time that I got the Goddess Knowledge cards and the Animal Knowledge cards. So in 1999, somewhere around there. And it's a really, it's a beautifully rendered deck, and I like how she stayed. It seems to me that she stayed very in keeping with the tradition that each goddess comes from in terms of how they're depicted. And at the time, so this was over 20 years ago, that was not the standard to do that. So, excuse me, I really appreciate that. I actually don't really love this one, because to me, when I think of Maya and illusion, I do think of Tibetan, well, I think of Buddhism in general, and I just don't really see that as this young girl's face. But anyway, most of the other ones I really like the way she depicted them. So that's the Goddess Oracle. And then in this box, I also have the... I'm totally spacing on the name. Oh, the Triple Goddess Tarot, which is not a tarot. Oh, I have something else in here. The Triple Goddess Tarot. These are the cards, and I have trimmed this deck. I'll put this over here. So they have the majors plus some extra cards. Oops. And I've shared this deck a couple times on my channel. I did redraw some of these cards, and I've drawn on these cards, as you can see here and there, and I've trimmed them. I think when you're feeling, if this art resonates with you, I think if you're feeling really tender, this is a really great deck to use. And the book that goes with it I think is pretty good. Geez. And then it has chakra cards in the deck too, and I did not trim these, and they are in order. And I added color to them. Just can't leave stuff alone. Okay, so, and then the last thing in this box, so I've got 3 things in this box. The last thing in this box, I started making my own art decks. This was before I made my She of Insight Oracle. And as I've said before, I love birds. So I made this little oracle for kind of that bird energy. And I used these birds and flowers. You know, obviously they have meaning for me, so there isn't keywords on the cards, but anyway, so I just wanted to share that. I also have a humongous deck of art that probably could be a tarot deck, but I have not finished it, so it's not a tarot deck, but it probably could be based on pre-existing art. There's a lot of decks that kind of do that already. Well, there's the Majestic Earth, and then there's there's a deck I'm going to be showing you right now called the Art of Life. That is a deck with pre-existing art. So here we go. The Art of Life. This deck, the last time I looked, this deck was out of print, so I apologize about that. So these are the backs, and the sun has changed what it's doing, so now it's giving weird light. So this deck has, like I said, pre-existing art. It gives the name of the art under the picture, which is really nice, and then it has a quote. So for the Tower, it says, "What does not destroy me makes me stronger." For the Seven of Swords, they're both Nietzsche. The Seven of Swords is, "One must have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." The Page of Swords, "When the student is ready, the master will appear." So yeah, pre-existing art with the name of the title of the painting, who did it, and the date, which is nice, and then a pertinent quote. I actually tried to redraw that for some art. So that is the Art of Life Tarot. I have to remember that I did that. All right, the next one is not in its big box. It's a box I made for it, Tarot of the Four Elements. This is one of my kind of foundational decks. I really love it. I drew on some of the cards. I really appreciate the quartz in this deck. Like I drew on this card. I just drew a little bit on, I think I drew mostly on the majors. Let's see, this is the moon. I don't think I drew on that one. Yeah, you know, I just like to draw on stuff. I appreciate the different interpretation, like this is the Eight of Swords. You get it, but there's also more to work with. This is a really good deck, and I like the guidebook that goes with this a lot. So that's Tarot of the Four Elements. I put it in its own, you know, little like card box I got just because it makes it easier for me to store. Okay. The next one is also one of my favorites, and that is the Animal Wisdom Tarot. It's also in a handmade box. This deck is so great. This deck is so great. I didn't really want to get this deck when I first saw it. I think I thought it was a little too childish or naive, and as I've shared before, that kind of judgment or kind of derision for childhood innocence and all that is part of my shadow work. So I circled back around to this deck and I said, okay, well, I'll get this deck because maybe I need some, you know, some gentleness in my life. And wow, this deck is so good. It's such a beautiful reader. It does not ever, it does not have the same kind of prickly energy as the Chrysalis does. So even though it does engage my inner child, it's not in a shadowy way. I think I just resisted this deck because of my shadow, my work, my shadow stuff. And if you don't know what shadow is, it's a psychological term from Carl Jung, who is a psychologist, but in colloquial terms, in terms of like tarot channels, it's just stuff that you reject about yourself, and in turn you reject it about other people. So that's what shadow is. This is another deck. This is the Byzantine Tarot. It's in a box that's just a card box. It comes in a really big box that I don't want to keep it in. Yes, so the Byzantine Tarot. It's chunky. This deck, you might not realize, is illustrated, or the art is by Scylla Conway, and she's the one that did Davis of Creation. She's also done, I think the deck is called the Shimmering Veil. So really, really different art style. So it just kind of speaks to her ability as an artist to do such, I love this card. So staffs are wands. The elements, I think, in this deck are a little switched around. I got this deck because seemed to be speaking to my deeper history of ancestry in Germany and Poland and up through Turkey, but that's like really far back. Anyway, I really like this deck. It reads great with the Morgan Greer and the Arthurian, but I was really surprised at how well it does with the Morgan Greer. So that's the Byzantine Tarot. And that's the backs, if I didn't show you. They're really pretty. Okay. Now we have... Come on. Oh, I'm trying to do one-handed. We have the Sacred Geometry cards. This is also a box that, you know, the deck does not come in a box like this. This is the... Oh, no, I just dropped so many. Oh, no. I'll have to pick those up later. This is the... I think this is the first one of the Sacred Geometry cards. Yeah, and it has some of the Platonic solids in it, which the artwork is not as engaging, but the write-up of the shape is really good. So I did think about getting her other deck and combining, because I think it's the same size, but it's a different back. But I don't use this deck enough to do that. So yes, I'm gonna have to pick up those cards later. If I was someone who edited, I would stop it and edit that, but no. Okay, so now, oh, I hope this drawer doesn't break. Now I'm gonna do the Schiffer edition of the Gaia Tarot. This is a incense box that I keep it in. So I think I mentioned before that I trimmed this deck. Schiffer made some, I think, bad decisions on how they printed this deck, this is the Gaia Tarot, but if you're going to trim it, watch out for the Universe card because it's a different size. So this is a really beautiful deck rendered in colored pencils. She's masterful with colored pencils. They're tricky to get this kind of depth, and I love this deck a lot. I really do enjoy the guidebook for her take on numerology. I do have... Somebody shared, I think it was, oh, I'm totally spacing out. Oh, it was Sarah at, I think Water Child Tarot. We share a significator card. This card. This, the way she talks about mixed race people and the way she connects it to the Temperance card, this does look like a mixed race person to me, but it's problematic a little bit, her discussion of this, but that's okay. You know, we can have issues with some things that are written in a book and still like the deck. You know, it's not like it's either all green or all, you know, green light, red light. Like, you can have some cards that are trickier for you or problematic, and I think there's the artist, that's her. I think that as long as you're aware and as long as you know what the problems are and you are sensitive when you share the deck or talk about it, then I don't think it has to be, you know, like, okay, well, I'm never going to use this deck because it has a problematic Temperance card. And I don't think that's what Sarah was saying either, but I just wanted to mention that. So this is not going to go back. Okay, I'll just put it there. All right, the next deck is going to come out of its box. It's the Modern Witches Tarot. I was surprised that I liked this deck as much as I did. It's got pretty thick cardstock. You know, will it stand the test of time? Probably not, but I don't really care about that. Like, I kind of like, well, I you know, things like this, I really like that. I like the modern take on a lot of these cards. I even like the fashion. I think it's fun, which is kind of surprising for me. Yeah, so I do like it. I enjoy it. And I think it's a good reader. It is a chunky, so. That is the Modern Witches Tarot. The box is a little, I mean, the box is cool, but whenever I try to pull it out, it opens and then the cards kind of fall out. So that's a little challenging. Okay, the next deck is the Incidental Tarot. This was given to me as a gift, and it came to me already trimmed. I think I put this back in order. I really love the art style, and I thought that this creator was creating a deck, a tarot, another tarot deck. I really like her art a lot. And this actually, I did some really powerful readings with this deck. I don't know if this is out of print or not. She's renamed some of the cards. And it's pippish, which I like. But you know, there's still stuff to go on. And that way it reminds me, well, no. I was gonna say it reminds me of the Truth Seekers, but that deck, the pips are, well, anyway, I shouldn't confuse you. So that was the Incidental Tarot. The next deck is the Spolia. The Spolia came in a very flimsy box that was just gonna break. So this is in this giant, just cardboard box. The deck is humongous because it has astrology cards. I don't know where I put them. It has astrology cards and elemental cards. I don't think I guess they're in there. So these are the elemental cards. And then this is so a lot of people have been talking about, oh no, what's the name of it? Shoot. The Ritual Tarot, and also something in situ. Oh, Dreaming in situ. Oh my gosh, when I see those two decks, I'm like, I want them so badly, but they're very expensive, or they're not very expensive, they're expensive. And I have this deck, and then again, this is the Spolia. Oh, and these are the backs. And I love this deck. I love this deck so much. And I think that I want those decks because of my love for collage. I really love collage. And those two decks, yeah, really enjoy. Particularly the Dreaming in Situ. I just love the backgrounds so much on that deck. So I'm really trying to not buy that deck because I do really love this deck. And it's not that I can't have two decks that are the same, but I find that when I do that, it splits my interest. And I already have quite a few collage decks. So that's the Voyager Tarot kept in this giant cardboard box. Okay, we did this one already. So now, this is the first edition of the Gentle Tarot. And everything about this, oops, what am I doing? I don't know why I'm having so much trouble. Everything about this deck is beautiful. From the gilding, to the box, to the book, to the cardstock. And I believe she has a pocket edition, a linen edition of this deck. I think I have a bag from her. I also have earrings from her. She also has, this is Mari in the Sky is the creator, the Gentle Tarot. These are the backs. So I have a bag, earrings, and then I think she also has a new Oracle deck. This is a great reader. It is very supportive and introspective. And it has beautiful animal and plant energy and elemental energy. This actually reminds me of Huichol yarn art. That's from Mexico. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful deck. So good. If you're feeling tender, this is a good deck to use. That is the Gentle Tarot. And then the next one, I don't often buy independent decks from the UK because it's expensive. But this is the Old Ways, the Old Ways Magic Oracle. Oops, by that person. And you can get it here. But this art was just, it really spoke to me. So I got it. And they're larger cards. And very deep art. I do have Celtic ancestry. So it resonates. I don't think all of this is Celtic, but a lot of it is. I don't know, maybe it all is. There's like a power, primal energy that goes with this deck, which I really enjoy. So that is the Old Ways Magic Oracle. This deck this drawer has quite a few decks in it, so this might be a long video. This is the Fallen Angel Oracle cards. Did I show? Yeah. It's in this kind of two-part big box. I don't love it, but I don't hate it, so I keep it in here. I have found this a pretty straight shooter, this Oracle deck. I wasn't interested in this at all until, let's see, I think it was Natalie again at Champion of Coins. I think she mentioned something about this deck and it piqued my interest. And so I was like, maybe I'll get it. I did not want to get it when it was out of print for a while and it was going for crazy amounts of money. But when it came back into print, I got it just because I was curious. It wasn't that expensive and it's a really good reader. It has kind of a like a teacher energy, but kind of strict. Yeah, which is kind of funny because it's, you know, fallen angels, but there's kind of a strictness to this deck, which I find interesting. Okay, the next deck is one of my favorites. Okay, then. So the next three decks, Natalie from Champion of Coins, I saw them on her channel. This is the Dragon Tarot, also by Nigel Suckling. He did the Fallen Angels. And yeah, I saw this deck on her channel and I was mesmerized by the backgrounds. So even though, these are the backs, this has a very plasticky cardstock, but unlike Schiffer, it's slippy. So, you know, I think it's just the stickiness of the Schiffer cardstock that I don't like. So this is a pip deck, but the backgrounds change and it just really feels like an immersive world. I do resonate with dragon energy, but like angels, I feel like dragons are pretty heavy and strong, their energy. But I love this deck. I even like the borders, which is rare for me. Yeah, this is a great deck. It's a great reader. I really like it. That's the Dragon Tarot. Ah! What did I do? I don't know. I felt like one of the cards was not going in right. Okay, let's try this again. All right. The next deck also saw on Natalie's channel, Champion of Coins, and that's the Golden Tarot. I used to have both Golden Tarots. This is by Liz Dean, and that is by Cat Black, the other one, and it's a collage deck. And this one is not. Again, I just really love the art on this. Maybe this is Maggie Keene. Oh, it doesn't say. I keep getting her mixed up with other artists. Anyway, if I remember, I'll put it in the description. So this is a pip deck. The pips are not as, I mean, they do change. They're not as kind of immersive as the dragon, but I just, yeah, it's a really, oh, I guess they don't change. It's a really great reader for me. I love, yeah, just very evocative, gentle, but also kind of soulful in a strange way. It's kind of hard to articulate unless you know, read with it. But I've done lots of readings with this deck. Pips, pips, pips. Okay, so that is the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean. It has that plasticky Circo Books cardstock, but I like it because it's easy to shuffle and it seems pretty durable. Yes, Circo Books. Those all were Circo Books. Okay, the next one is the... Ooh, it's got a lot of dust on it. Voyager Tarot. This deck... Oops. The box always eats one of the cards. This deck, I hated it. Okay, I didn't hate it, but I really, really didn't like it when I first saw it because it had collage, and I was like, blah, collage. But I fell in love with it because, I don't know, it just repulsed me, and then I just couldn't look away, and I just kept looking and kept looking. This is trimmed, and I've taken off the keywords. So he has a different interpretation of tarot, and I wanted to read it the way I wanted to read it. So I took the keywords off, but left the titles. Some people, so, let's see, man, woman, I think it's man, child, I think it's child, woman, man, elder. And so if you know, do not, if you're non-binary, if you do not feel like either woman or man describes you, this type of structure, I would say, might be alienating. So also, let's see, I think, did I just pass it? There's one of the woman cards is pregnant. I don't know. Anyway, one of the woman, oh, here it is. Woman of Worlds. I mean, there's nothing wrong with showing a pregnant woman's body. I think it's beautiful. It is one of the miracles of life. But if you were a woman and you maybe couldn't get pregnant and wanted to get pregnant, or didn't ever want to get pregnant, or, you know, had some issue around pregnancy, this might be kind of confronting, or it might make you feel like this doesn't feel like it can resonate with me on any level. So just be aware of that. I do like the Man of Worlds. If you look at it, it's like all white men, like literally all white men. And I don't really like that, but there are other parts of this deck that I really do like. Like, this is a beautiful, beautiful High Priestess card. So, I don't know, take it with a grain of salt, and maybe watch flip-throughs of this deck to make sure that none of the cards really upset you or offend you or make you feel unseen and othered. You know, this is the Ten of Wands, and this is a beautiful card. So, it's an older deck. And I think that it shows in some of the ways that the quartz are presented. So that's the Voyager Tarot. I still do love it, but I understand its problems. The next deck is the Dreams of Gaia. I have 2 copies of this. 2 copies of the 2 copies of the older edition. I believe that they came out with different cardstock, or not gilded or smaller or something. I don't know. The reason I needed 2 is because I was often doing big spreads with this, but I still wanted to work with the deck. I really love this deck. I love what she has to say. It is kind of like a therapy session when you read with this deck and then read the guidebook, which, you know, if you're really having a mental health crisis, this would maybe not be something you should do. But if you're just really in need of some insight and reflection, then this deck is really good for that. You know, if you're having a mental health crisis, you need to get help from a professional, not a tarot deck. But I really like this deck a lot. It's beautiful. I think I shared before that I was a little turned off by this deck initially, probably for the same reasons that I was turned off of the Animal Wise, is because it was kind of too beautiful and too, I don't know, but I really like it. The next deck is the Alchemical Tarot of Marseille by Robert M. Place. This is a very fancy deck. The box, even though my cabinet is kind of dirty, the box is covered in like a material. Yeah, very nice. So I have not read a lot with this deck. I was attracted to the combination of the alchemical arts with Marseille, and I just didn't want to miss it. It also has quotes at the bottom. So for the Emperor, it says, "Is not air a body, and does not the body permeate all things that are?" So I think this is and it has that's Astrology Aquarius, and I think that's, shoot, I don't remember. I think this deck would require a lot of study. And like I said, I have not studied it, but it's got beautiful cardstock. I love his art. I wanted to get one of his decks, and I went back and forth about which one to get, and I just decided that I like the extra layer onto this of elemental and astrology. So that's why I got it. Look at those heads. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Look at that devil. He's like dancing. Let's see. So let's get to the pips so you can see them. You know, so it is like Marseille, but it has stuff in it, I would say, with a nod to Rider-Waite, for sure. And I really appreciated that too. Woo. So, every time I see this card. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful deck, beautiful art. All of his decks, I think, are well researched. He's very respected in the tarot community for his scholarship and his creation of pretty collectible decks. Okay, the next deck is the Kim Cran's Wild Unknown Archetypes. This was a deck that was gifted to me by a very dear friend. And I think everybody knows that she's the one that did this. So Dawn Michelle squared this deck. And I wrote the little things on here. I love it. it's so cool. I like how small it is because then I can use it with other decks. The not that much of the art is lost when you square it. And she also has not Dawn Michelle, but Kim Krans has another deck out. And I can't remember the name of it, but you could Google it. This is a very deep deck, very deep. Takes, like, she's very much into meditation, I think, in her own spiritual journey. And so I think that to really get the full import of these cards and the meanings that she assigns to them, it would require some like deeper thought, like meditation, for example. And I felt no need to add color to these cards, as you might imagine. So that is the Kim Krans Wild Unknown Archetypes, and it has been squared. Okay, the next deck is the Caro Tarot. This is the... I had my eye on this deck for about a year. And then she had a sale, I think, when was it? Around Christmas? And then I was just like, yes. The cardstock is smooth and thin, and I love it. I really love her art a lot. Yeah. Love it. I actually bought a print from her. It's not in here, so I can't show it to you, but it's like a garden print. Okay, that's the Caro Tarot. Comes with a little book, at least this edition does. And yeah, is great. Okay, this one is kind of funny. It's the Fairy Tarot cards by Radley Valentine. And this deck, I saw it when I first came on Tarot Tube, and I was like, yuck. I guess I spent a lot of time saying yuck to things. But I got it on a Hay House sale, so I think it was like $10. And I wanted a deck that was layered, so I could pull from the images, and this deck is actually. And the things at the bottom don't bother me. The things at the bottom. The words at the bottom don't bother me, and it's a very supportive deck. Let me find a negative card, and you can... Well, let me talk about this one, because I keep getting the Four of Swords so much. I'm in this weird liminal state of waiting for my graduate program to begin. So, Four of Winter. Set aside your concerns for now. You can make a decision later. Solutions that come from meditation. The need for more sleep or a vacation. So, that's what I've been doing. Okay, here. So, this is the Nine of Winter, which would be the Nine of Swords. And this is the little quote. Unfounded fear. Focusing on worst case scenarios, allowing worry to grow out of proportion to the problem. So if you get that, it's like, hey, don't let your imagination run wild with you. Seven of Swords would be there's a better choice, not seeing things clearly, running away from the truth. So anyway, this deck reminds me a little bit of the, what are those two decks? Tarot Apocalypse? No. Ugh, I'm totally spacing out on the names of those. But they're like a crazy collage. Not even collage. They're a crazy like digital art deck. So, I don't know. It's kind of kitschy, but kind of cool too. Like, these are very much kind of computer generated fairies, which you'd think I would not be able to handle, but yeah. I handle it just fine. It's a color-coded deck based on the suits, and yeah, it's a good reader, and it helps when you're feeling, you know, you need some advice, but you can't take any like harshness. That is a fairy tarot. The next tarot deck, I have both versions of this. No, wait. These creators of the bird cards, Jane Torian and Joyce Van Dauben, they have two decks. They have this one, the bird cards, and then they also have the birds of paradise. And I'm not sure if I can actually get to it. I don't think I showed it to you last time because it was kind of buried behind another. Yes, here it is. Okay, I'm just going to show them both. So these are the bird cards, and they're just called the bird cards. I'm sorry this deck is out of print. I told you that I was a bird girl, and I am. And these are like angel, like the angel energy of birds. And if that makes any sense to you at all with like crystals and stuff, if that makes any sense to you at all, the angel energy of birds, this is the deck for you. And it does to me. It does. Angel bird energy. Yes, please. So this is such a beautiful, the energy of this deck is so beautiful. It is so loving and supportive. It's kind of what I think a lot of people feel that angel decks are supposed to be. And I just seem to appreciate it more when it's coming from birds. So this is the other deck. This is the Birds of Paradise. These are the backs. Same creators. Again, angel bird energy. The art is colored pencils again. Gorgeous, gorgeous. These are birds from all over the world. So, really fun if you like birds, which I do. Yes, so I got this deck on, well, this deck actually I just bought it on Amazon. This was in like 2016, and then the other one I showed you I got on one of those those sell groups on the sell groups on Facebook. Okay. Actually, I think that's it. I think this is done. Oh, no, wait. I wanted to show this one. Actually, I wanted to show these two. So this is the Yami Oracle. The Yami Oracle. This is a beautiful, beautiful deck. And here is the guidebook. This came from the UK, and I had no problems getting it from the UK. The artwork is amazing. The cardstock is very rubbery, so it's difficult to shuffle for me because I don't riffle shuffle my decks, I overhand shuffle them. But that's okay because this artwork is just so special. And the book and the knowledge of the woman who created this, oh my gosh. Yes, this is another one of those decks that literally it would take a lifetime to understand. And I think somebody like me who is not part of this tradition will never really understand all of it, right? Because there's deep mystery knowledge here that you only really get when you are part of the religion, but so beautiful and kind of foundational for lots of different mystical, magical religions and traditions. So, love it. It's so beautiful. I'm working slowly on this, getting to know this deck because it is so deep. Okay, that's the Yami Oracle. I'm just going to put that there. And then I'm going to share my oracle. Oops. Oops, what am I doing with this? And that is the She of Insight Oracle. This is an oracle I created in 2021. And what to say about this? You can get it on Make Playing Cards. You get the guidebook that's separate with color pictures on Amazon. I created this deck, but I really feel like I was more just a conduit. When I look at this art, I find it very beautiful and compelling in a way that kind of I don't usually feel when I look at other art I do. I mean, I guess that happens occasionally, but I feel like something very special happened when I made this deck. And it's a very beautiful council of energies that I cherish. So this is the She of Insight Oracle, the deck I created with help. I mean, obviously, like I just said. Anyway. Okay, so that's going to do it for video number 5, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.